What does this truly mean for the larger global order? We take this conversation forward. We have with us Professor Klemens Fischer from University of Cologne, Bonn, Germany. Professor Fischer, thank you so much for speaking to NewsX. I have to, of course, begin by asking you, what really was Germany's expectation from this visit to India, and have those expectations been met?
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me to your meeting here online. Well, firstly, the point is a very simple one. Mr. Wadephul's visit to India couldn't have been at the best or at the worst time we could see. At the best time because there's an urgent need for the Europeans, and in particular for Germany, to have closer bonds with India. And the worst case is that at the same time, your Prime Minister is visiting China and is meeting there Mr. Putin, Mr. Xi, and Mr. Kim. And therefore, it is not very clear for the Europeans on which side India might take place in the forthcoming months. We will do everything to hold on this camp, India in our camp particularly, because we do need India as a strategic partner in the Indo-Pacific. So Mr. Wadephul's visit is very much important for the German foreign policy, for the German trade policy, but inter alia, not only for Germany, but also for the whole European Union.
Mr. Fischer, when you say that India is an important strategic partner for the European Union as far as the Indo-Pacific is concerned, could you shed further light on the same for our viewers? Why exactly is that view held, and what is the larger expectation as far as trade relations with India are concerned?
Well, currently we do see that the worldwide trade is more or less in turmoil. On the one hand, Mr. Trump is putting one barrier after the other on certain countries. It's not only India who will punish currently. It is even, as you will certainly have seen, even Switzerland with 39% on tariffs. So India is more or less the scapegoat for the politics which didn't work out, because Mr. Trump didn't want to punish India in the first place, but is certainly Russia, because not of ending the war in Ukraine. So India is of course bound by your own trade relations to find a way out of that. And Mr. Wadephul repeatedly said yesterday, and when he was on visit and visited your foreign minister, that Germany and the European Union is more than willing to open up our markets. In particular, when you see Germany, more than 1,800 German companies and all high-end companies have already their compounds in India. There are very close relations between India and European universities. And this is what we should explore. The Europeans have no right, and they shouldn't do so, to tell India what to do and which path to go. But we do not want to lose the biggest democracy on earth, because whatever you might see in the Ukraine conflict, which side India might take, well, this is not the reason to break up with India, because we still want to have very close relations.
Okay, that's an interesting point that you raised there, Professor Fischer. So I want to understand from your perspective further. Is there then largely a belief within Europe that it's wrong to isolate India for its purchase of discounted oil from Russia and blame the Russia-Ukraine war on India squarely?
As a lot of experts repeatedly have said, of course, India, with its position in more or less the monolith between Africa and Asia. This is the subcontinent India, which is the dominating part in the Indo-Pacific region, of course, together with China. And India must find a way, in particular, to fuel its industry. And obviously, India has decided to take raw oil and gas from the Russians. This is something the Americans simply don't want to see, because they have sanctioned Russia on that. And there are two big countries, which on the one hand is China, the other is India, who still buy gas and oil from Russia, which is understandable, by the way, because you do need to fuel your industry. And therefore, as long as the Europeans and the Americans don't make a better offer we have to accept that India is at least taking this part of the agreement with Russia. On the other hand, India, we do at least hope so, is still open for a dialogue. And your Prime Minister yesterday, in his meeting with Mr. Putin, stated not more than once, I think 2 or 3 times, that the war in Ukraine must have an end. At the end of the day, some industry parts might be the big winners of the war, always be. But on the other is, trade is interrupted worldwide. Globally, we do see that supply chains are not working as they should. And India, together with Germany, has a huge trade volume. Last year, as I've just looked at, $33 billion trade volume between Germany and India alone. And then see what the trade volume with the Europeans is. So what we really expect from India is that India doesn't break up with the Europeans, because Europeans are not the enemy in that very case. We are part of course, a hemisphere which is partly dominated by the US, in particular militarily, but our trade and foreign policy is certainly a European one. And
yes,
Mr. Wadephul is only a symbol for that.